look, I wrote yesterday a little about, I was actually not thinking about the story everybody seems to want to be talking about. I was actually thinking about Jerome Powell and the fact that he will not lower interest rates and how infuriating that is and how it can only be a partisan thing, even though Donald Trump says again yesterday he has no intention of firing Jerome Powell. People were asking him about this, and just in case you doubted him or don't think he's, or you might think he's about to go rogue and think he's about to step out of bounds somehow, he assured everyone that is not his plan, 2945 here, not firing Jerome.
Coming into this meeting that you planned on firing Fed Chair Jay Powell, markets react.
Is that right? Those are reports, but they're not true.
So what would be useful to know, are you committed to picking someone from the outside? Are you going to interview individuals that are
so
on the
many
board
people
right
that
now?
want that job. I have people that I've known a long time. They're calling me, begging for the job. You know what you need there? A smart person with common sense, but you need a very smart person for that job. I think it's one of the easiest jobs in government. You show up once a month and you make a statement about where the economy's going, and we're going to raise or lower interest rates. It's probably the easiest job I've ever seen. That's why I'm trying to figure, why does he want to expand and add more people? He's going to add more economists to tell him what to do. But the economists, I was right. All the economists were wrong. They admitted it. They admitted it this morning.
Yeah, look, here's the deal. President Trump's advocacy for tariffs have not had any kind of impact on this economy in any meaningful way other than a budget surplus so far. And in terms of it being a negative, every economist, I just had a story earlier in the week that there are no economists that expect this to have any kind of appreciable impact on the economy, or it would have already shown itself. Tariffs don't penalize or micromanage people. Instead, they allow the government to influence foreign practices and it's revenue coming in. I mean, he's talking about maybe he flirted with this yesterday. He said to John Solomon, I can entertain doing away with the IRS. We're bringing in so much revenue now, and we'll be bringing in so much revenue from tariffs alone. I think we could entertain having a conversation about getting rid of the IRS. That would change the dynamic of the conversation a lot, wouldn't it? What if you could have a meaningful conversation in the country about getting rid of the IRS? Do you think some Democrats would come on board then? Some moderates? What about all the bedwetters on our side now that think there's only one issue to talk about and nothing else is more important? What if we could get rid of the IRS, Ed? Would that excite people enough to shut the hell up for 5 minutes about the dead pedophile or no?
How would that not excite you? Get rid of the IRS? We've been wanting this our entire lives, man. You kidding me?
By the way, we just defunded PBS and NPR last night. Or this morning, 2:30 this morning. That's another one. Any of the bedwetters want to talk about that, or are we done winning? Anybody else done winning? I don't know about you, but I'm not. Look, we're on the precipice of something really special here. This is a really, really special president, and I am not going to stop celebrating the specialness of it. We're living history. It is unprecedented history. And if there are people that are trying to make the case that we should shut all of it down, deny it, ignore it, turn our back on it, get mad about it, wet the bed about something, yours truly is not doing it. We're kicking too much ass. We're revolutionizing the country. We have not been through it. You will never, and I want you to just know something right now, you will never, ever live through another presidency like this one. You won't. I'm going to go to my grave, and I'm pretty confident I'm not going to live a more dynamic presidency than this one. And I haven't lived a more dynamic presidency than this one. No bones about it. What I fear, in short order, is we're going to go back to business as usual. We have 3.5 years left. Really, we have until next year. And I think that J.D. Vance leading the charge over there in the Senate and getting this stuff done all by a whisker, he's getting some... I mean, taxpayers no longer sending money to NPR and PBS. When did you think that was ever actually going to happen? Did you ever think we'd be having a serious conversation about, and I'm not saying I know it's going to happen, but that we could even be flirting with the idea of a revenue stream coming into the country meaningful enough to replace the IRS? Really aggressive, meaningful tax cuts. These tariffs haven't caused inflation, by the way. The Federal Reserve's excuse for not lowering interest rates has been to punish the entire country. for the crime of electing Donald Trump president. That's what's going on. There are these little shadow wars going on still, very much going on inside government. And I think such is the case yesterday with the firing of this Comey woman who, let's shift to it for a minute and consider the timeline of what's going on. So if you didn't hear this, Maureen Comey, a federal prosecutor in Manhattan, daughter of the former Federal Bureau of Investigation's director James Comey, has been fired from her job in the Southern District of New York. Isn't that kind of amazing to you that this woman had a job? Still, think about this. One of the biggest enemies of the Trump administration, the daughter, has just now been fired from the Southern District of New York. Just now. Now, why do you suppose that is? Why just now? Why did that happen this week, just now? Consider the timing. It was also the Southern District of New York that did what? Remember when Trump hit the door? Remember when Pam Bondi hit the door? Remember when Cash hit the door? And the first thing that happened there in the Southern District of Manhattan? What happened? The guy running that office had to be sent out because he refused to cooperate with them as they dug around. She's the one. Comey was the prosecutor in a case against Jeffrey Epstein. And more recently, she was the one that prosecuted the case against Sean Combs. And I hear many people link these two together, interestingly. And they often say that Sean Combs and Jeffrey Epstein, one and the same, and they both got away with their crimes. Now, look, it was a jury of Sean Combs' peers in Manhattan that ultimately said he's not guilty of the most heinous stuff. But the woman who was running that investigation and that prosecution was Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter. So if you're somebody who believes that Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Combs haven't gotten justice here, or the people affiliated with them have not been brought to justice, and their victims have not gotten justice, who's at the center of all of it again? Yet again, isn't it something? The name Comey is back. The reason for her firing not immediately clear, reports CNN, but a person familiar with the situation said being a Comey is untenable in this administration, given James Comey is constantly going after the administration. It's an interesting bit of reporting from CNN. James Comey is constantly going after the administration, they admit. The former FBI chief, Donald Trump critic, currently under investigation for possible false statements to Congress. He was separately questioned in May by Secret Service after he posted a photo of the 86-47, that he spotted in the shells in the sand. Maureen Comey's dismissal also comes as Trump faces growing pressure to release more information on Epstein. The Justice Department released a memo that there was no client list, and the Trump administration announced it didn't plan to release any more documents in the investigation. All right, so why fire her? Well, we know the Supreme Court most recently gave Trump backing to fire, through his executive actions, fire whoever he'd like inside of government agencies. Remember, it required the Supreme Court signing off on it to make sure it was good to go. So they didn't even try to move on this Comey woman until that was firmly codified by the Supreme Court. So then she gets sacked. And now what's Trump out there saying about the Epstein files yesterday? It's interesting. And again, I know people are taking this very personally, and I'll get into that maybe a little bit later. But let me specifically listen in very, very closely yet again to 2943 here. This is President Trump being asked about this again yesterday while they're in the midst of firing this Comey woman. Listen closely to what he's saying. 2943.
Operated the auto pen, had a policy, which is, by the way, I think the biggest scandal. That's the scandal they should be talking about, not Jeffrey Epstein. The scandal you should be talking about is the auto pen, because I think it's the biggest scandal, one of them in American history. So the economy is doing really well, and people are seeing it. Yeah.
Will you ask Attorney General Pam Bondi to release more documents to finally put this controversy to bed?
Yeah, whatever's credible, she can release. If a document is credible, if a document's there that is credible, she can release. I think it's good. But it's just a subject. He's dead. He's gone, and All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.